Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And today, instead of a cold open, we have something to talk about.
Yeah.
We actually, for those of you who know, we have a Patreon page. If you
Yep.
don't know what that is, then Google it. It's basically a digital tip jar type thing.
Yep. And particular fan, Denard Springle, he's the first to donate in the $40 category.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. So
You're a
$40
crazy
an episode.
person.
So, I mean, good for him. But he seems like a really nice guy. I talked to him a little bit. And basically what you get is you get a bunch of shit. And also, like, the main thing is, hey, we'll throw an ad up for whatever you want to promote. As long as it's not, ridiculous. If it's like, hey, check out my animal porn. Fuck you. I'll take your money, but you're not getting a fucking animal porn
I'd consider
ad.
it.
I'd consider it.
I'd check it out. It'd go in my bookmarks tab.
Yeah. And shockingly, Denard doesn't want anything for his own personal gain, which is it's a rarity in these days. And
He's a better person than I am.
He's a great guy. So he donated this money, and he wanted us to tell you guys about this website. It's called planetary.org. And that's the website for the Planetary Society, which is a creation of Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's actually CEO, and it basically their whole goal is to fund and create scientific communities to further space exploration and space science that goes into it. And he's involved. He's one of the main guys. He's been in front of Congress. He's trying to get NASA funded and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Neil deGrasse Tyson is on the board, I believe.
And it's really cool. And here's some pictures and stuff, space stuff. So basically, the idea is you can become a member. You can donate to him, or you don't have to. But basically, you just want people to know, like, hey, this is a thing, and it's really, really cool, and it's pretty important, actually. And Bill Nye is all about this. And if you follow him on Twitter, you've heard about this before. So.
Certainly. So, without further ado, let's continue with the ridiculous thing we do, which is far less important than the work of Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
La 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 la. Here we go. It's the Bible reloaded, logic explosion, like Jesus and Moses, but it's Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of it taken, so get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up you and stop what you're doing. It's Bible reloaded time. They call it debated, the theists will hate it. I'm talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So on with the show then, it's not candy coated, it's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake. With Hugo and Jake.
So last time we talked about the Levite and his concubine, and what happened was he went to a place with him and his concubine and a horse, I believe, or a donkey.
It was a donkey.
Beast of burden. And people came to the door and said, hey, can we rape you?
He's like, no.
So here's my concubine, rape her instead. They did. They raped her all night.
She dies.
He chops her up into pieces.
Sends her to the 12 tribes of Israel, and they're like, oh my god, look at this piece of hooker knee. We should probably go kill people in Gibeah, because, just by smelling it, I can smell, like, it's like a Sherlock Holmes, like, boo, and he looks at the threads on the knee, and he notices the weight of it and the smell. It smells like daisies that only grow in the area of Gibeah, and now they're gonna go attack Gibeah and the Benjamites that live there, because some guy was a bad person.
Yeah, so that's what's going to happen here in Judges chapter 20. The Israelites punish the Benjamites. Then all Israel from Dan to Beersheba and from the land of Gilead came together as one, assembled before the Lord in Mitzvah. The leaders of all the people of the tribes of Israel took their places in the assembly of God's people, 400,000 men armed with swords. The Benjamites heard that the Israelites had gone up to Mitzvah. Then the Israelites said, tell us how this awful thing happened. Well, you see, they were gonna rape me, but I'm a man, so obviously that option was right out the door, just like my prostitute who I let them rape.
Yeah. That seems reasonable. I mean, I understand. If it was me, I wouldn't have wanted to get raped. I would have given my wife or daughters. So,
preferably both.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta sate them somehow.
So the Levite, the husband of the murdered woman, said, I and my concubine came to Gibeah in Benjamin to spend the night. During the night, the men of Gibeah came after me and surrounded the house, intending to kill me. They raped my concubine and she died.
Whoa! He's lightening it up. He's like, yeah, they just got a hold of her. I don't know how it happened.
Don't know what happened.
Sneaky fucking
she
Benjamites.
probably wanted it, if nothing else.
She was wearing pretty slutty clothes. She had like half burqa on.
If it was a legitimate rape, it would have shut that whole thing down. I took my concubine, cut her into pieces, and sent one piece to each region of Israel's inheritance, because they committed this lewd and outrageous act in Israel.
Wait. Hold on. What did you just say? You snuck that in the end. I don't...
See, they raped her, so I cut her up to show, and sent her body parts to you to show the lewd act they committed.
Wait, what? No, why are you doing this? You're not a butcher.
No, but I wanted to try. How many opportunities do you really have to cut up a hooker? Verse 7. Now, all you Israelites, speak up and tell me what you have decided to do. Well, firstly, put you in prison, because clearly you fucked that dead body far more than you should have. I know there are a lot of rules previously. One of them has to cover fucking cutting up a dead body and sending it to other people. If it doesn't, can we make one up? Because this is not acceptable. Verse 8. All the men rose up as one, saying, None of us will go home. No, not one of us will return to his house. But now this is what we'll do to Gibeah. We'll go up against it in the order decided by casting lots. We'll take 10 men out of every 100 homes from the tribes of Israel, and 100 from 1,000, and 1,000 from 10,000, to get provisions for the army.
That is how math works.
That's sufficient. Then when the army arrives at Gibeah in Benjamin, it can give what they deserve for this outrageous act done in Israel. So all the Israelites got together and united as one against the city.
It's like they're 9/11.
I know.
They're like, holy shit, they cut up a hooker!
No, that was
Levite. Oh.
Well, they raped her.
Well, yeah, but rape isn't really that bad.
A small group of people did a thing to us. Now fuck everyone who kind of looks like them. The tribes of Israel sent messengers throughout the tribe of Benjamin, saying, What about this awful crime that was committed among you? Now turn those wicked men of Gibeah over to us so that we may put them to death and purge the evil from Israel.
Whoa.
But the Benjamites would not listen to their fellow Israelites. From their towns they came together at Gibeah to fight against the Israelites. At once the Benjamites mobilized 26,000 swordsmen from the towns, in addition to 700 able young men from those living in Gibeah. Among all those soldiers, there were 700 select troops who were left-handed, southpaws,
Yeah.
each of whom could sling a stone at a hair and not miss.
Is that a thing that you do often? Like, that's how we decide whether or not you can left-handed sling rocks.
I guess.
Hit that hair!
And not hair as in H-A-R-E, H-A-I-R, like a hair on your
Yeah.
head, not a rabbit.
Do they have, like, really tiny, like a fence post with, like, a stick on it that holds one single hair, and they're like, hit that fucking hair off?
I'm more impressed that you can see that something hit a hair.
Yeah.
Did it hit it?
Maybe there's a guy right next to it.
See, that's dangerous.
But he trusts him because he can hit a hair. So
that's
like,
a Robin Hood arrow apple situation.
Yeah.
Israel, apart from Benjamin, mustered 400,000 swordsmen, all of whom fit for battle. See, here's the thing about this sort of scripture.
You're losing a lot of people that we have no record of.
Why do they always overestimate? I mean,
You could say 4,000 and be equally crazy.
It's just like, no,
We know you didn't have, like, roughly 500,000 able-bodied males ready for war in that area. We know you didn't.
Yeah.
Bible people. Just chill. Just be like, yeah, there's like 400 guys and one of my friends.
Verse 18. The Israelites went up to Bethel and inquired of God. They said, Who of us is to go up first to fight against the Benjamites? Wow, I forgot God was in this book. It's been a while since they mentioned him. It seems like they talk about him less and less as it goes on until, like, Jesus comes in.
Yeah.
Seems like it becomes much more human-centric.
Weird.
Which is interesting. The closer it gets to when it was probably written, the less they talk about God. As an actual character, at least. The Lord replied, Judah shall go first. Fuck Judah, I guess. The next morning the Israelites got up and pitched camp near Gibeah. The Israelites went out to fight the Benjamites and took up battle positions against them at Gibeah. The Benjamites came out of Gibeah and cut down 22,000 Israelites on the battlefield that day.
Well, that didn't work out.
But the Israelites encouraged one another and took up their positions where they had stationed themselves the first day.
Come on, guys! We can do it!
That's a poor strategy. It was like, It didn't work out yesterday. Should we do it again today? Fuck it.
Yeah. But but they're encouraging each other. So it's like the really over-enthusiastic fast food manager, like, good teamwork, team! It's all right, we'll just get back in there, you know?
The Israelites went up and wept before the Lord until evening, and they inquired for the Lord. They said, "Shall we go up again to fight against the Benjamites, our fellow Israelites?" The Lord answered, "Go up against them." Fuck it.
That was the least... the least advice. Just go, man. Just
kill 'em,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah. Verse 24. Then the Israelites drew near to Benjamin the second day. This time, when the Benjamites came out from Gibeah to oppose them, they cut down another 18,000 Israelites, all of them armed with swords. Swords. Then all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to Bethel, and there they sat weeping before the Lord.
Well, yeah, all their friends are dying.
They fasted that day until evening, and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. And the Israelite inquired of the Lord. In those days the ark of the covenant of God was there, with Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the ministering before it. They asked, "Shall we go up again to fight against the Benjamites, our fellow Israelites, or not?" The Lord responded, "Go, for tomorrow I will give them into your hands." At least he's more clear this time as to the end goal. He's like, no, really, I'm going to fuck him up tomorrow. It's okay. Just do it. Verse 29. Then Israel sent an ambush around Gibeah. At least they're having some sort of tactical...
Yeah, they're just like, run at them with your swords!
No, this time they're like, okay. Let's set an ambush, I guess. They went up against the Benjamites on the third day and took up positions against Gibeah as they had done before. The Benjamites came out to meet them and were drawn away from the city. They began to inflict casualties on the Israelites as before, so that about 30 men fell into the open field and on the roads, the one leading to Bethel and the other to Gibeah. While the Benjamites were saying, "We are defeating them as before," the Israelites were saying, "Let's retreat and draw them away from the city to the roads."
Yeah.
All the men of Israel moved from their places and took up positions at Baal Tamar, and the Israelites' ambush charged out of its place on the west of Gibeah. Then 10,000 of Israel's able young men made a frontal attack on Gibeah. The fighting was so heavy that the Benjamites did not realize how near disaster was. Weird way to put that. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel, and on the day the Israelites struck down 25,100 Benjamites. I wouldn't have believed it if it was just 25,000.
I know.
But that 100 really got me to be like, that's too specific to be made up. Then the Benjamites saw that they were beaten. How do you see that? You just look and you're like,
Yeah,
I think we're beaten. We're definitely beaten. Look at how beaten we are, guys. Those who had been in ambush made a sudden dash into Gibeah, spread out and put the whole city to the sword.
Take this wall! Ting ting! It's like Don Quixote.
Mm-hmm. The Israelites had arranged with the ambush that they should send up a great cloud of smoke from the city, and then the Israelites would counterattack. The Benjamites had begun to inflict casualties on the Israelites, about 30, and they said, "We're defeating them as in the first battle." But when the column of smoke began to rise from the city, the Benjamites turned and saw the whole city going up in smoke, and they thought, "Oh, fuck." Then the Israelites counterattacked, and the Benjamites were terrified because they realized that the disaster had come upon them. So they fled before the Israelites in the direction of the wilderness, but they could not escape the battle. They're not trying that hard. You could probably find some way out, but whatever. Apparently surrender is also not an option here. They're like, no, they're gonna kill us. We know how they are. We're kind of one of them. And the Israelites who came out of the towns cut them down there. They surrounded the Benjamites, chased them out easily, overran them into the vicinity of Gibeah on the east. 18,000 Benjamites fell, all of the valiant fighters. As they turned and fled towards the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, the Israelites cut down 5,000 men along the roads. They kept pressing after the Benjamites as far as Gideon and struck down 2,000 more. On that day, 25,000 Benjamite swordsmen fell, all of them valiant fighters. Not valiant enough, apparently. But 600 of them turned and fled into the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, where they stayed 4 months. The men of Israel went back to Benjamin and put all the towns to the sword, including the animals and everyone else they found. All the towns they came across, they set on fire.
Fuck this town.
Because they're the most fucking sadistic group of people ever to ravage a countryside. Like, even Genghis Khan is like, come on, guys.
Chill.
Alexander the Great's like, this is not a way to run an empire. And now, we finish off the episode with wives for the
That
Benjamites.
sounds like a nice thing.
Yeah, because, the Benjamites, they just fucking killed the vast majority of them, other than about 600 who fled into the woods, apparently.
Yeah, so they're like,
We should get them wives. I feel bad
probably
about
lonely.
this.
How should we do it? We'll tell you.
Chapter 21. The men of Israel had taken an oath at Mitzvah. Not one of us will give his daughter in marriage to a Benjamite.
Fucking dirty Benjamites.
The people went to Bethel, where they sat before God until evening, raising their voices and weeping bitterly. Lord God of Israel, they cried, why has this happened to Israel? Why should one tribe be missing from Israel today?
Because you murdered them!
You were there! You fought them with swordsmen!
You didn't have to kill them with swordsmen or left-handed rock throwers, but you decided to anyways.
It's like an episode of the Twilight Zone where the Israelites have become victims of their own sadistic morality.
Good!
Verse 4. Early the next day, the people built an altar and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then the Israelites asked, who from all the tribes of Israel has failed to assemble before the Lord? For they had taken a solemn oath that anyone who failed to assemble before the Lord at Mitzvah was to be put to death. Which is a weird thing to do. They're like, we lost a whole tribe. So which tribe wasn't here so we can kill another one? Like, it's like they're pretending they didn't like it, but secretly they're really into it. Like,
Yeah.
Like they got bored of killing outsiders, so they're like, oh, to get that same rush, we gotta kill some people from within our own
Just
group.
escalation. And hopefully eventually they decide to kill themselves.
Now the Israelites grieved for the tribes of Benjamin, their fellow Israelites. Today one of the tribes is cut off from Israel, they said. How can we provide wives for those who are left, since we have taken an oath by the Lord not to give them any of our daughters in marriage?
There's other tribes, right? Like, that are non-Israel. They could get the Canaan... Well, you probably wiped the Canaanites out already.
No, I think they come back later, but the idea is that they want to intermarry with other Israelites.
I guess.
Then they asked, which one of the tribes of Israel failed to assemble before the Lord at Mitzvah? Here's the thing, if they really wanted to still let people marry people from the Benjamite tribe, just fucking let them. Undo,
yeah.
Make a new agreement or something. Like, you don't have to
Yeah, you could be
stand
like,
with
there wasn't very much foresight in this. They're gonna be alone forever. We could change this. Give them the fat daughters.
They discovered that no one from Jabesh Gilead had come out to the camp for the assembly. Damn, that's what happens when you're like, oh, there's an assembly, man? No, let's go hang out in the fucking library.
Read books about stuff.
All those conformists, man.
Yeah. Go listen to our alternative rock and wear fedoras.
Trench coats.
Trench
coats and fedoras.
Yeah, man.
I'm so unique, man. No, you're fucking not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna go read erotic fanfic.
So here's the thing about fedoras and trench coats and any other sort of fashion that falls into that category. Stop.
Yeah, because you look threatening. Whether or not you're threatening or not, trench coats hide things. You're hiding behind a trench coat. Also, your fedora makes you look like a douchebag. And you're saying, oh, look at me. I'm so nonconformist that I look like every other nonconformist, so I'm a conformist. Fuck you, conformist.
And there's another group of fedora-wearing people who think it's classy. It's not classy when you're wearing a felt fedora you bought at Kohl's for $5.
No. It's classy when you're Bruno Mars.
There are a very select few people who can pull off a fedora.
Justin Timberlake can wear every fedora simultaneously and look sexy.
But see, the thing is, what people misunderstand, at least when they're people who wear fedoras all the time, it's not the fedora that makes Justin Timberlake look good.
Justin Timberlake makes the fedora look good.
Justin Timberlake can wear a giant omelet suit and he looks good. The point is, fedoras were fashionable a long time ago, and they were part of formal attire. You would wear them with a suit.
Zoot suit.
If you're wearing a fedora with an ironic t-shirt with a cartoon character on it, you're wearing it incorrectly.
No, and you're playing Dota.
And you look stupid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to help you. I only say it because I'm trying to help you. Stop it.
What are cool, though, are bow ties.
Bow ties... See,
bow ties are cool.
I feel like bow ties are going to slide into the same goddamn category as fedoras so quick, because people... Any sort of fashion statement that you're making to be like, this is uncool, but now I'm so cool because I'm wearing it. That's the kind of thing you shouldn't wear. It's so stupid. Anyway.
I just like Doctor Who.
That was the thing with Hugo. Verse 10. So the assembly sent 12,000 fighting men with instructions to go to Jabesh Gilead and put to the sword those living there, including the women and children.
That's reasonable.
This is what you are to do, they said. Kill every male and every woman who is not a virgin, which I don't know how you check that, but okay.
Well, you just rapid check. Are you a virgin? Yes? Good.
They found amongst the people living in Jabesh Gilead 400 young women who had never slept with a man, and they took them to the camp at Shiloh in Canaan. Then the whole assembly sent an offer of peace to the Benjamites at the rock of Rimmon. So the Benjamites returned at that time and were given the women of Jabesh Gilead who had been spared, but there were not enough for all of the men. So what happened was they're like, fuck, we gotta get the Benjamites some mates.
Yeah.
Oh, what tribe didn't show up to this select meeting? Oh, those ones. Oh, go kill all of them, all the women and children who aren't virgins, and all the men, and take the virgins, and we'll give them to them. Is this a club you want to be a member of, or some of the members of the club are like, let's kill that group of the members so we can take the...
No.
Fucked up. Verse 15. The people grieved for Benjamin because the Lord had made a gap in the tribes of Israel. Also you, with your swords. And the elders of the assembly said, with the women of Benjamin destroyed, how shall we provide wives for the men who are left? The Benjamite survivors must have heirs.
Right?
They said, so that a tribe of Israel will not be wiped out. We cannot give our daughters as wives, since we Israelites have taken this oath. Cursed be anyone who gives a wife to a Benjamite.
Yep.
But look, there is an annual festival to the Lord in Shiloh, which lies north of Bethel, east of the road that goes from Bethel to Shechem, and south of Lebanon. So they instructed the Benjamites, saying, go and hide in the vineyards and watch. When the young women of Shiloh come out to join you in dancing, rush them from the vineyards, and each of you seize one of them to be your wife. Just one, though. Just one per, guys, seriously. Then return to the land of Benjamin. When their fathers or brothers complain to us, we will say to them, do us a favor of helping them, because we did not get wives for them during the war. You will not be guilty of breaking your oath because you did not give your daughters to them.
But we stole them. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I sure do miss my daughter, but right is right.
This fucking book makes my head hurt sometimes. Verse 23. So that is what the Benjamites did. While the young women were dancing, each man caught one and carried her off to be his wife. So were they running around in Benny Hill style? Like,
yeah.
Then they returned to their inheritance and rebuilt the towns and settled in them. So that was pointless.
Yep.
At that time the Israelites left the place and went home to their tribes and clans, each to his own inheritance. In those days Israel had no king, everyone did as they saw fit. So, I guess everything's back to normal. It's like at the end of a sitcom, when it's like, nothing really changes episode to episode. It's just a series of characters that stay pretty much the same and get put in different scenarios. And that's the end of this one, so.
Yep, so moral of the story is, if your country or clan or whatever you identify with gets attacked, make sure to run away, because 4 months later you could steal yourself a wife.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching. You can follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded,
or at Hugo Reloaded.
If you want, if you enjoy this content and think we should continue with it, feel free to donate $1 on Patreon or more. If
you guys have been really great with that so far.
Awesome. Other than that, I think that's it.
I agree.
So until next time, this has been no.
What the fuck?
Sorry, it's been a long day. Saw Gojira. Anyway. So until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been The Bible Reloaded.
And next week we have to get up to 88 miles per hour or we're gonna have to fuck our moms!